So here, I've gone into an AWS Lambda function, and the important part is shown here. As you can see, we're just getting a DynamoDB table and scanning it and printing it out to the console. And when we execute it, here's what the results look like. I've pre-populated a DynamoDB table with a few items. Now let's look at what permissions we have for this Lambda function. This Lambda function is associated with an IAM role, and this role has two policies associated with it. One that gives it permissions to create a log group and also log events to that group. And a second policy that starts out with granting permissions to do any action on any resource in the account. This isn't a great security rule, and let's see why. In addition to being able to scan and print the items in this table, I can also do things that we might not want the function to do. For example, deleting data. Here, we'll delete data from the table, and then we'll scan and print it again. Now, if we execute this, you can see that I start out by scanning the table and the data's there. But then the items get deleted, and afterwards, there's nothing in the table when we scan and print it again. Let's assume this is bad for this use case, and that we don't want this function to be able to delete data for whatever reason, only to read it. So, what we need to do is update the IAM policy statement here. And instead of giving it permission to do any action, let's restrict it to a set of read-only DynamoDB actions. Again, on any resource in the account. Now, this is an improvement because now I only have read access. So let's restore our database contents and try again. This time, we can see that the read works fine. But if I try the delete again and scan and print, we'll see that this won't work because the function doesn't have permissions to delete from the table anymore. Here you can see the error, saying that the delete item operation for this particular role was not authorized to perform a DynamoDB delete item action on the particular resource that it points to, this table. So, that's an improvement, but we still have a big security hole. What if I change this to try reading from a different table? Say, some corporate financials from a totally different app in the account. This function certainly should not be able to access it. Now this actually worked. As you can see here, it was able to read data from the other table. The reason is because this function's IAM policy allowed it to access any resource in the account, which means any DynamoDB table. So let's update this to only allow it to access the My Demo App table and the indexes associated with that table. After this change, if we try again, we'll see some different results. Now, when I try to look at the corporate financials table, I get an error saying that the Lambda's role is not authorized to perform a scan operation on this other table. But of course, I can still read from the table that I intended to read from. There's my data, still accessible.